So, good morning and welcome back. It's bright and early the next morning. I'm reading through the comments, tucking into my breakfast of champions. I'm getting ready to head into the master bedroom and kick off. Okay, so before we get stuck in, as always, quick look outside, see what the weather's up to. Well, a world of difference since yesterday. It's warmish. There's a bit of cloud right over there on the other side of the valley, but basically perfect. Okay, well, the comments seem to have split into two main groups. The one group that says, God, don't want a bathroom at all, or on the other group that says, oh, that's not too bad, maybe some minor modifications. To put it along the back wall was a suggestion. Now, it is pretty wide down there. It's going to look funny if you do half of the wall. To do the full wall, I think that's going to be too big. I'm going to cut this. I really have been thinking about this a lot, and I quite like what I laid out yesterday. And that's pretty much what I'm going to build. A lot of questions about sinks. Yes, in the loo, you want, and they make little tiny sinks, and we'll have a little tiny sink in there. But that's to wash your hands when you've been to the loo. We need a proper sink for things like brushing your teeth, shaving, and that I haven't yet fully decided on where that's going to go. That's not going to make any huge difference to what I'm planning on doing today, which is running wiring across the walls, putting the holes for the sockets, so we'll be having various plugs around the place, obviously left and right of the bed-ish, the corners over on that wall, and somewhere over here too. So that's marking, chasing, drilling. Once we've got that done, I can start putting up at least the first set of rails for this partition wall here that goes up next to the door. I'm going to have to take out the old electricity. That's not particularly complicated to do. So that's sort of the plan for today, is get stuck in straight away. So I'm going to go and get a chalk marker and set that up. Okay, so in the living room, I capped the feed that went there and into the back room. So that piece of old wiring is now completely dead. There he is. No more light. So I can now safely take all of this off and bin it. Okay, so taken the lead off, you can see where it went through into the other room. All of that's done. How's this for some confidence-inspiring wiring? It looks like they've been twisted together and then wrapped in, well, band-aids, I think. And that's then on a wooden base. Oops. That was literally just hanging on the wall. They seem to, everywhere where something's screwed in, there's a bit of wood that was put into the plaster, like a dowel, but it's not a round bit of wood, it's quite a chunky bit of wood there. Okay, so here's a bit of wall above the door. This is where the junction box was. And you can see the block of wood that was there, which the junction box was screwed into, fell out when I took the junction box out. But there's a block of wood underneath. This one over here. They put one in every time they put a nail in. And that was obviously done while the room was brown and ochre. I'm guessing then that would have been probably, looking at the cables, which were obviously never renewed, I would have thought sometime shortly after the war. And it was extremely sparingly used. There were lights pretty much everywhere, light bulbs, and so far I've only been able to find one plug. So I guess that might have been for a fridge that was added at a later date. So we've got the green. Below the green, there is a white. Below the white, there is sort of a creamy beige. Below the creamy beige, and then there's another white. And somewhere along the creamy beige, actually, that probably matches up with that, which is this. The white had a border painted on it. Let me take that off. And then we've got the big blue border that presumably went around the room. So these wooden blocks were put in while it was brown, as you can see. Well, pull out the rest of these terrible old rusty cable clips, and then we can mark up. Okay. Definitely a cat. I heard a meow. There it is. So it's up there. Sounds like it's calling its mates round for a party. Oh well. Cats better than mice. There is something I find extremely satisfying about using a chalk line. I think it's, I don't know why, but I love it. So that's going to be our 30cm electric line. Plug there, plug there, be running along the wall there, so that's for the towel heater somewhere around there. We won't do that till we buy it, but that's going in the plasterboard wall anyway. Switch and plug, as we said, next to the door. And yes, a switch there for if we come in on the terrace. I spoke to the boss and she thinks that's a good idea. And then another plug there and a plug there. And that's it. That should be enough for a bedroom. And there we go. I had to have two goes on that one because on the left I was in the middle of an extremely hard, impenetrable stone. Here we hit brick. That was just plaster. That was some pretty heavy stone too. And over here we went through some cement and then hit brick. But basically all that's fine. Just chase the connectors, at least those ones over there. Might as well do them all while I've got the machine out. It's the same machine we used on the other side. So 2 diamond discs, and I'll just make a line along the wall. And then you put this stuff in that fits between the two of them with the electrical cable in it, and then a bit of plaster over the top, just spots to hold it first, and then obviously when we plaster the room, that'll be tidied up and disappear completely. But it means running in those tubes means that if something does go wrong at a later date, you can just pull out the wire, in theory, and swap it for a new one. Okay, it's now lunchtime, so I'm going to go and have a sandwich, and then I shall come back and keep going. The 12 o'clock bell's ringing, sandwich is on its way into my tummy, and I've been checking out, I think this is probably quite good. It's not massively expensive. At 73 euros it comes with the bottom bit and the tap. It's cold water only, it's just washing your hands in the loo, and it's 22 centimeters by 40 centimeters. So we just compare that to my MacBook. It's about the same depth as my MacBook. It's really not going to take up much room, and that's just for washing your hands once you go to the loo. Okay, well, as you can see, that produces a lot of dust. But it's done all the way around. Obviously it doesn't go right into the corners, so I have to do that manually. You know, sometimes when I'm knocking holes in the walls and drilling and banging about, I feel guilty for making so much noise. You can hear the birds, and that's it, not a car in the distance, nothing. There you see the dust still blowing out. Give it another few minutes, and I can go in there and make some more noise. Okay, well, the dust is pretty much settled now. I've just gone round, or I'm going round, just tried to rake out most of what was supposed to come out before I get in there with the old jackhammer. Okay, and then let's see. It all depends on what it's made of, but we get most of it out. And here's our bit of test pipe. As you can see, that will hold it with the screwdriver in place. It does disappear completely, so that's pretty perfect. So I'm going to keep going, tidying this out. Got that scoop attachment on the end of the hammer thing, the hammer drill thing. So I can just scoop once along the rows, and hopefully that'll go quite quickly. It'll also enable me to get into the corners. So there, need them both to meet up. And then I'm going to wire. I'm going to put the cables in, and then I'm going to run the cables along that wall as well, because it's going to be much easier to do it that way and then build the metal framework. Okay, there we go. All the way around, it's held in the wall. Obviously everything goes behind the partition wall. I put the socket, in fact I've got something holding that one in space. So I've also quickly drilled the hole. Look, you can see why we did it here. As you can see, there's light there. It's not such a huge drop. So we can get a first cable down there, junction box on. I'm going to be using rigid pipe for the bits behind the wall and screw them to the wall. And that should be that. Okay, so I've pretty much put together what I had written on the wall. I haven't put a pipe up for the light in the shower yet, because we're going to wait until that wall is built, so we know exactly where that's going. And the same for the bedroom light and the loo light, so there are more going up there, but we've got light switch into socket, we've got the power for the lights, we've got a socket there, we've got the sockets go across. I need to patch that one in there. And then for the towel heater, obviously, pull that up the wall at some point. Once I've got the towel heater and I know which side it's got to be wired in on. I'm not going to wire that in just yet, because it's it's still wet. I need that plaster now to dry, and then I can plug that in. So now that this is done, and I'm really quite happy with that. I like it when it's nice and clean, even though it'll be completely hidden. But now that's done, we can start lining up the first wall construction for the little shower loo ensuite. Okay, well, I've swept up a little bit, tidied up a little bit. The electrics are drying nicely. You can see it's still a bit, there's still a bit of so darker colour, so but I think by tomorrow morning that'll be fine. So I'm going to call it a day now, and 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, the Tuscany went from red to yellow, which means that the bar is open. So I'm going to head up to the cooperative and have, well, if I say so myself, a well-earned beer. I got a little bit of backache, a lot of crawling around because that's quite low on the wall, but that'll be fine by tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go have a beer, I'm going to go and have a shower, then I'm going to go and have a beer, and then I'm going to edit all of this and put it up. So in the meanwhile, thank you very much for watching. Thank you enormously for all of your comments and ideas. I did stick to version 2 because I've been thinking about it and how important is it really to have a bathroom well. For me, it really is. I think it really is something that will change the quality, and you know, perhaps even for the future, if we ever end up renting it out or something, it's, you know, it's quite convenient if more than just one family comes to stay, that there are more bathrooms. Anyway, I'm a great fan of lots of bathrooms. So I think it's going to look fabulous. Tomorrow we're going to get on with the drywalling structure. So that's ready to go. I've got all of the metalwork, and we'll knock that up tomorrow morning. And then we can finish wiring. I can put the plug boxes in. We'll be one step closer to completion. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching the ads. It does sort of make a couple of little euros, which is nice at the end of the month. Helps buy suspended toilets and little sinks and things like that. So take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.